Alright there guys, and welcome back to a new video. Today it's not Attack on Titan, we're saving that of course will be out on Sunday. Instead, this time we're going to be talking about Dr.Stone. And why it is better than science class. And yes, I do mean school science class, that's what I'm referring to. Why is Dr.Stone infinitely better? Well, I did finish DrStone yesterday, and let's just say I'm ready for the second season. Of course, it won't be coming out anytime soon because Season 1 only ended at the very end of 2019, so we ain't going to be seeing Season 2 for a little bit, but I'll be there week by week when it finally does start airing. So, personally, I hated science class in school. Although, no, I didn't always hate it. In years 7 and 8, so the 2012-2013 academic year and the 2013-2014 academic year, I did not mind science. It wasn't bad. Year 8 was where it was the best because we did experiments every single week and they were actually enjoyable. And being bottom set science was actually an enjoyable thing. With science being the only thing Che wasn't actually in bottom set for. Che was actually half decent at science. But from year 9 onwards, year 9, 10 and 11, so the 14-15 academic year, the 15-16 academic year, and the 16-17 academic year, my final 3 years of school, oh god, was science the worst. In year 9, it was terrible because the teacher was an absolute asshole. Basically, he would find any reason to complain at you, give you a warning, send you out. He would find anything he would look for any reason to do that. Because I remember Che telling me once when he had him, he told me he got a warning for saying hi. It's like, why? Why are you doing that? Are you that much of a prick that you need to moan at someone and give them a warning because they're saying hi? They're being nice. He was being nice to you, you dumb ass prick. But no. And here's a good one. This asshole teacher, one day, he kept me, when it was break time, he kept me in the science class, right? I didn't get to go for break, right? I had no idea, and he said, why do you think I kept you in? And I'm gonna say, and I said, I don't know, I said something inappropriate. And he said, exactly. But he never told me what I said. If I don't know what I said, how can he know what I said? And I even asked him, I said, "Sir, what did I say that was inappropriate?" He says, "Find that out, figure that out for yourself." Okay, if I already knew, why would I be asking you the question? Why would I actually be asking you the question? What did I say if I already knew? And still to this day, I have no idea what I said. Then we move on to year 10 and 11 science, where we got another new teacher, who was an even bigger twat than the first one. Because this one, I hated this one more, because this one actually picked on me specifically. This one picked on me more than anyone else in the class. And I don't mean picked on as in always, whenever he asked a question, he always chose me to answer. I don't mean like that. I mean picked on me as in bullying, constantly making fun of. Constantly making fun, cracking jokes and making fun of at my expense. And this teacher basically, the thing with him is he just couldn't teach. Like, he actually was not good at what he did. He spent up to 10 minutes sometimes just to find a PowerPoint slide that he didn't make. All right, one of the other science teachers made it. He had nothing to do with it. He didn't create anything to do with it. But he still got to use it for the lesson, so he's making us copy down stuff off the board that he didn't even do himself. Taking credit for other science teachers' work. And he wasn't reasonable in any way. And he just constantly kept on making fun of me. It got very annoying. And he did this for the whole 2 years. He literally did this from September 2015 to June 2017. Over a year. Over a year and a half, really, he spent doing this. And I was just so glad to get out of there. And I never had to do science again. But the funny thing was, in the 2017-18 academic year, me and David went on our school's website to look at if any teachers have changed what they're teaching, and this science teacher was now teaching ICT. We found that hilarious because he could barely work anything. He barely could do anything with technology, and now he's teaching the very thing he can't even do. Well, it's funny because it's so ironic though. As soon as we leave, as soon as my year group leaves that school, he doesn't teach science anymore. He starts teaching ICT. He doesn't leave science and start teaching ICT when we're there. No, wait till we've left, then. So all the other students don't have to deal with him anymore that are still there, but we did for the full 2 years. I hated it, and I can even remember back in year 7. I think it might have been the very first science lesson in year 7 I ever had. I can remember someone asked me for a pencil, so I gave them one, and the teacher shouted at me. It's like, oh yeah, you've made a really good impression there. You've made a really good impression as a teacher on me there. It's the very first time we've met. I'm giving someone a pencil and you're shouting at me. And funnily enough, he was only the science teacher for year 7 and then he was gone. So it's funny how teachers pick on me and then they go. It's not like I even did anything to make them go. But now I've spent 10 minutes ranting about science class. Let us get in to the other side of the video, Dr. Stone. Dr. Stone is the anime about the world getting petrified. Now, petrified is usually a word you'd use to describe someone who is scared out of their mind. But in this sense, it means the entire world was turned to stone. Every single human on planet Earth had been turned to stone. And the only way to purify someone, which is break them out of being turned to stone, is to use nitric acid, which comes from bat crap. And no, I'm not joking. Pour it on the stone body, and the stone will crack. And that brings us our main character, Senku, who literally counted 3,700 years in seconds. He counted from the day he got turned to stone to 3,700 years later, and he literally counted every single individual second for nearly 4,000 years. I don't know how you wouldn't go insane doing that, but he didn't. He then broke out his friends Taiju and Yuzuria and sent them off as spies to go and spy on, I guess, the antagonist of the show, Tsukasa, who is a man who does not want science to plague the world anymore. He wants the world to be built upon manpower, not science. So we have the interesting dynamic of manpower versus science, and some of the inventions that Senku creates, they're all things that already existed, but the fact that he has almost no resources to create these things, like the people that invented them did. Senku creates so many things. He managed to reinvent ramen. And when I say reinvent, I don't mean invent something that already exists but make it better. I mean reinvent as in he's able to create it again in however he possibly can. He reinvents ramen. Only the village that he finds, which is called Ishigami Village, was actually founded by his dad, and his last name is actually Ishigami. He doesn't actually like the ramen. He thinks it tastes awful compared to regular ramen, but everyone else in the village had never tasted ramen before, so they enjoyed it. Right at the end of the season, Senku creates, as close as he can, a mobile phone. It isn't a regular mobile phone like the one I'm using to record this video on. It's more powered by electricity waves, and more like a megaphone horn that worked as the microphone to transmit someone's voice from one wire, from one end of the wire to the other. Kind of like if you got two cans, attached a string to them both, and then you talk through one and the other person put it to their ear and could hear you. That's kind of how they went about it. They also managed to create a water wheel with very little resources. And they weren't able to really use the nitric acid anymore due to Tsukasa making the very cave Senku was purified with the nitric acid from being his base. And hell, Dr.Stone even managed to throw in a very, very tiny tournament arc into the mix. Because we all know that tournament arcs are a pretty big staple of anime, and no form of media does them better than anime. But the biggest thing about Dr.Stone is it technically is educational, because everything Senku does is teaching you about science in a way no science teacher could ever make entertaining or interesting. But the way Senku does it just is entertaining, because he says it and then he just does it. He even managed to reinvent cotton candy from the super limited resources that he had. And the thing is, the way you do science experiments in schools, a lot of the things Senku does is done exactly the same way. He doesn't have all these facilities and massive resources together that he can use. He does it with the little, whether it's cable wires, copper, and the tiny bits of electricity he can create himself. And Dr.Stone shows itself as a sci-fi anime, but an incredibly unique one. As I said, we're 3,700 years in the future, but the way Senku has to work is like it's 3,700 years in the past from when the world got turned to stone. We meet quite a lot of interesting characters along the way, such as Kohaku, Gingo, Kingo, Chrome, Magma, Rui. But Senku is the real MVP. He's the one with all the knowledge. And Senku was obsessed with science from a very, very young age. His dad's dream was to go to space, and he succeeded in the dream of going to space. But this explanation probably hasn't sold it enough, but I thoroughly do recommend you guys should check out Dr.Stone if you have not seen it yet. It's 24 episodes long, and its second season has been confirmed. When it will be released, I have no idea. We start off the video with a rant about how much I despised science in school, but then we come around to why Dr.Stone makes science fun and entertaining in its and educational on top of it. So that is going to be the end of this video. Hope you guys have enjoyed. Please be sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new to the channel, follow me on all my social medias, and I'll be back on Sunday for the Rise, the Fall, and Rise Back Up of Attack on Titan Part 2 of 3, where we will be tackling Season 2. But until then, catch you later.